Good evening and welcome to the Top 25 Rundown presented by the Sportscast. Today is November 15th, 2023. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all your channels, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, and Apple Podcasts. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and review. It'll help us out tremendously. We're also on DAB Digital Radio. You can listen to us on your smart speaker play Sportscast. You can visit us on the sportscast.net. Also follow us on Twitter at Sportscast1 and check out our app, the Sportscast, in the iOS App Store. Hello, my name is Alan West. Welcome to another edition of Top 25 Rundown. I have with me Tyler Turner, the Turnercast. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well.
I'm
We'll have
laughing because my phone going off. Do you get thrown off really easy?
it gets me a little
Yeah.
bit, sir. It gets a little
Like,
bit.
you
But
like
see,
to- you like totally what came to a complete stop. I was like, dude, go.
well, no, I was waiting just for a second. No, I was okay because this isn't that bad, sir. Compared to what I deal with every day, not bad. It was entertaining though, because I knew it was going to happen, so I was just waiting for it to happen because it happened right before. So,
What?
well, anyway,
What
it
happened
happened
right
right
before?
before we started. Your
What?
phone went off right before we started.
Oh,
So, I knew it was going to happen again. I was just waiting, so that's why it was kind of entertaining. I was giving it a minute to have its 5 seconds of fame before I went back into my talk.
whatever.
Yes, sir. Speaking of whatever, what's happening with all the coaches that are getting fired?
Not doing good. Obviously, they're not doing very good at their job. They wouldn't be getting canned.
Yeah, I mean, Jimbo Fisher with that contract, I think it's like 76, 78 million.
Yeah, that's
He's
his
going to be doing
buyout.
like Bobby Bonilla every year.
He could go just chill on a yacht. I mean, he's fine for the rest of his life. For pretty remarkable what he did at A&M. He was there for one, two, three. How many years was he there? I'm trying to think of it. It's six, right? He was in his sixth season,
I believe
and
so.
I don't think he had a 10-win season. His best year was the COVID year where he was 9-1.
Hmm.
And they played in I think the Orange Bowl. That was a pretty good team. They actually were just outside the playoff. I think they lost to Alabama. Other than that, that was the only. But other than that, he had like 9-4, 8-5. I think it was 8-5 again. Then it was 5-7. Did he make a bowl game? And then this year he's 6-4. Who knows? I wouldn't probably pick them to beat LSU. That to pay that guy that much to recruit. He had recruited top 10 classes 5 years in a row, including having a number one class in 2022, which
Hmm.
actually was rated the highest class ever in recruiting history when you look at the composite score. To have that much success on the recruiting trail and to have not one season that you won 10 games, no SEC titles, didn't play for an SEC title. Um, yeah, I understand Texas A&M moving on from him. It's just like you should be getting better results for that. If you're going to be paid that much and you're going to be recruiting that well, why are your results so marginal? I get it.
Sure.
I agree with A&M.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading in the book Bo. He actually, if he was going to leave Michigan, he almost went to Texas A&M
Bo Schembechler.
to coach there. Hmm.
Cool.
But he couldn't leave Michigan, so he didn't. We'll get into Michigan a little bit later.
Who do you think A&M gets? Well, you don't have to sit there and think. It looks like you're thinking super hard for one name. Like
No, not really.
just give me like five names
Like
of
you said,
people.
Jamie Chadwell, Lance Leopold.
Jimmy Chadwell? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they were talking about him for that or for
Mississippi
uh,
State.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, because that's another
I,
job right
I
there.
I don't see Chadwell at A&M, but yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. What other names? Lance Leipold. Okay.
mean, they could even look at Chip Kelly now. If Chip Kelly doesn't make it through the year, yeah, hey,
Why would they look at a
it could
coach
happen.
that had subpar results at UCLA?
Sometimes being at a different school, you can change things around.
That I mean, if a coach that gets fired at another school and you fired another coach, nah, that would just be bad optics. A&M's fan base would be annoyed. They're like, you're hiring a fired coach. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
I know they were talking about Dan Lanning, but I doubt he's leaving Oregon. I doubt
Well,
that.
he already came out and said he wasn't. So, and that was a weird, like, yeah, I was like, okay, they're maybe going to make the playoff. They just are going to go over to the Big Ten. They have a top 10 program, recruiting and revenue. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense. That's like thinking that, I don't know, like Kirby Smart. I mean, it's maybe, and it's not that bad, but it's like thinking like Jim Harbaugh is going to go to Texas A&M, or thinking Dabo Sweeney is going to go to Texas A&M. I mean, I just yeah, I don't see that one.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that, I couldn't really see it either, just because.
I could see the one that I'm hearing, the one that's also, I guess, you associate with Lanning because he's in the Pac-12 and he's over in the Pacific Northwest, is Kalen DeBoer. And Kalen
Mhm.
DeBoer, that would make a little more sense because Washington is not quite the brand that Oregon is. They're having a good year this year, but they are moving to the Big Ten, and I'd probably rank them. Eh, they're not as good as Ohio State. They're not as good as Penn State. I wouldn't say they're as good as USC. I would not rank them as good as Oregon. I don't know if I'd rank them as good as. Did I say Penn State? Penn State. But so
Not yet.
they could be below 5 teams. Then you can go over to the SEC where you're probably a top 5 when it comes to actually like funding and donor money and facilities in Texas. I could see if Texas A&M was able to pay more, I could see maybe DeBoer going to A&M. I think A&M's a little better job than Washington. You can make more money and you have a better recruiting footprint.
What do you think about maybe Gus Malzahn or even Tom Herman?
No, for sure not Tom Herman. He got fired at Texas. I would say pretty much for sure not Gus Malzahn. He got fired at Auburn and he's been pretty marginal. He's been okay, but that's all at UCF. Tom Norman, like, no way, Jose. He got fired at Texas,
Yeah,
his alma mater.
yep,
So, no,
I remember. I wonder if they could lure Bronco Mendenhall back into coaching.
I don't think he would be the per. I think Mendenhall's a good coach. I just don't. I don't think that'd be a good enough hire for the fan base to be enthused about. I think they have to hire someone who the fan base in some ways is going to be. I mean, this is a big job. The SEC is expanding. The SEC is going to get tougher. Texas A&M is going to have to hire at least a pretty good coach. I'll tell you someone that you probably don't know, but the reason why I know him is my uncle is his chief of staff. My cousin is actually his an offensive analyst for them. Jeff Traylor for University of Texas San Antonio. He was a high school legend in Gilmer. He won 3 state titles as a head coach. He then went to Texas, was a really good recruiter under Charlie Strong, was a good recruiter under the guy I forget the guy's name. He was an offensive coordinator for Clemson, Morris, whatever his name, something Morris, who was the head coach at Arkansas. He was recruiting coordinator there, and then he went to SMU, and then eventually got the UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio job. And he did very well in the Conference USA, won 2 Conference USA championships. He's now moved over to the American. They're actually undefeated in the American.
Hmm.
They play Tulane here in like 2 weeks. He would be someone that you and normal people probably don't know of, but he has a really high profile and a very good reputation in Texas. And he was a very successful high school coach. And
Okay.
I think he'd be a good hire. What are you laughing at?
No, no, that just makes me laugh. But what about Mike Norvell from Florida
What
State?
makes you laugh about that?
I mean, I like learning about different coaches. That's definitely a good one. I'm curious about him, so that'll be interesting
Have you
because I
ever
didn't
heard of him?
realize about the bio. Not really, though. I mean, that's why when I was listening to your bio about it, I can appreciate that. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about Norvell?
I was just wondering why you were laughing at it.
It's just the way you were describing, yeah, you and normal people. It's like, okay, 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 that's
Well,
cool. But
I think
still,
it's you don't know who he is.
true. I mean, there are a lot of coaches I don't know who they are. True.
Yeah, so my comment was normal. I mean, you don't know who he
It's okay.
is.
It's okay. No, but I mean, so that's true. That could be interesting. He could be definitely one.
You're naming okay. So while he's someone you the nor yeah you don't know. So I was accurate. I was accurate. I said
True,
you
true.
obviously don't know Group of Five coaches. You probably don't know Summerall at Troy either. You know Jamie Chadwell because he coaches at Liberty. But you have to look at Group of Five. Willie Fritz is another coach at Tulane. So I'm naming coaches that
Hmm.
you probably don't know because you don't probably follow the Group of Five that close, but there's some good coaches in the Group of Five. Where do you think Norvell came from? Where do you think uh I mean, there's not a ton, but there's enough good coaches even in the Power 5 now where they started off in the Group of 5 and they eventually end up at the Power 5 level. And yeah, Mike Norvell's the one from Memphis. I'm trying to think of another one. Well, Scott Frost obviously came from UCF. He's fired now.
Justin Fuente.
Matt Rule came. Yep, Justin Fuente came from Memphis. Matt Rule came from Temple. A lot of good coaches initially started off in the Group of Five. So, um, yeah, he's a Group of Five. If you wanted, I think it seemed kind of outside the box for them to hire a Group of Five coach, but he was a very successful Texas high school coach. I would think he would be maybe a more likely candidate at Baylor because I think Baylor might move on from Dave Aranda.
Oh, really?
I'm hearing, yeah, hearing things are a little tense there. So, oh, and I'm also hearing Dana Holgerson at Houston.
Okay.
So if the Houston or the Baylor job came open, I would almost guarantee you Jeff Traylor gets one of those two. A&M
Okay.
is a little bit of a big fish. That's a little bit of a jump. I do think, yeah, you're going to ask me about Norvell. Yeah, I think they would want a Norvell or a DeBoer or do you know Mike Elko at Duke, who
Hmm.
used to be the
Hmm.
defensive coordinator at A&M, or Lance Leipold. I think they want a Power Five successful coach. I think going to a Group of Five is a little bit like it's like he needs
Downgrade.
he needs to prove it a little bit. But Baylor or Houston, they'll hire Jeff Traylor for sure
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
second. I'd be almost
True.
guarantee you if Houston comes open, he might be their first pick because he's from that area. So
Yeah.
you'll see. My uncle will be chief of staff. I'll get you some tickets.
All right. Sure. Sure. I will think about making a trip down there. We'll figure it out.
Get you
So,
some tickets there.
okay. Okay.
Where's
But
Bob? Where's Bob at?
he should be coming on pretty soon. So, I mean, that'll be entertaining when he does come on. Now, the NCAA today made their ruling about the postseason waiver request for James Madison, Jacksonville State, and Tarleton State. They rejected all three waiver requests. So, out of the three, James Madison and Jacksonville State, depending on if there is enough spots to fill the bowl games, they could still make it to a bowl game. But the Dukes can't play in the Sun Belt Conference Championship, so I feel like the NCAA copped out again because I know that there was a rule for the 2 years, but with how JMU's been this year, to not give them the chance, I don't feel that that's right.
I initially was thinking about it and I thought that maybe it wasn't, but the thing is there's other schools like Jacksonville State. I think there's another like Tarleton State. There's other schools that are having to do the same thing. They have to sit out 2 years. And it's something that you have to do when you come up from the FCS level. Liberty had to do it too. So why are they going to change the rules for a team just because they're good?
Okay, fair enough. And those were the two teams I just mentioned also for Jacksonville State and Tarleton State.
Okay,
They all
sorry,
three got
I,
those.
I didn't hear you. But
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Jacksonville State is actually they're bowl eligible. They would be also eligible to
Hmm.
play in a bowl game. I think they maybe would have even been eligible to play in the Conference USA championship, but they're
They're
not.
third right now. They're third in the league right now with a
Oh,
5-1 mark.
okay, they're third.
So
So they're behind New Mexico State.
yeah,
But I
yes.
think they still would have a chance to jump
Hmm.
a bit, but they're ineligible. So it's New Mexico State versus Liberty.
So right now, what they're saying, according to ESPN, they could still play in a bowl game if there aren't enough teams, but they would not be allowed to play in the conference championship game in regards to JMU. And then if Jacksonville State did make it, it'd be the same situation for them.
Gotcha.
It just depends on how many teams are going to make it. So,
That
because
I
I
mean
mean, I've
seems
seen,
fair.
yeah, I mean, JMU, I would have liked to see them in the conference championship game, but if they can make a bowl game, I know it's not exactly a consolation for them, but that would still be pretty good just with how the year that they've had between the football team and the basketball team, what they accomplished a week and a half ago. So
James Madison's
when they
basketball
beat,
team.
yeah, they handed Michigan State their first regular season home loss for a season opener since 1970.
Oh wow.
So they are one of 6 teams that are ranked in the top 25 for the men's basketball and for football.
James Madison is top 25 for basketball. Well, good for them.
Hmm. Yeah, no, they've been doing pretty good. So we're gonna see how that goes and keep that in mind. That being said, what do you think about what's going on in Michigan now? Have you been paying any more attention to
I
that
mean,
since we talked last?
obviously he's suspended for 3 games. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Seems like it was kind of dumb thing to do, and it also seems like they're being pretty heavy-handed on it. I think this is gonna force Harbaugh out of college football. I think he leaves Michigan.
Yeah, would not surprise me.
And I think they hire that guy. I think they hire that guy that started cussing on. Did you hear about
Oh,
that?
more, you mean?
Yeah. I want to
Yeah,
thank
I did hear
God
about that.
our effing love. I was like,
Yep, yep.
dude, you can't do that on TV. Oh, it was a little
Yeah,
dramatic
no,
too.
the thing, true, true. But the thing for him, they were throwing a fit today. Or they were, I read an article today that Michigan could win its 1000th game overall. So they're a little upset that Harbaugh may not be able to be there for that. And they have the hearing for Harbaugh this Friday, I want to say at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we'll definitely see how that goes just for the next round of that. But it's a messed up situation, and they are not happy with how the Big Ten commissioner is being. But when you're making a mistake in what you've done like that, just with how science was, how the evidence was, it's hard to get around that, at least in my opinion. So also we saw that Arizona right now, we I saw a few different news sites that have talked about how their finances when they did their forecasting,
Hmm.
apparently they were a little short $240 million short. So we still have all the spring sports, plus we're trying to get through football and basketball, just with the basketball team beating Duke last week. And I think that's going to be pretty messed up for Arizona if that is completely come to fruition, because how are they going to be able to budget and plan around for some of those spring sports?
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion on it?
Not really. Sorry.
Killing me, Tyler. Killing me. But
I don't really
did you
have
see?
much on it. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Too bad their budget's like that. Hopefully they figure it out. Be smarter with their budget.
Okay. Did you see about how the judge ruled that Oregon and Oregon State and Washington State are now the controlling members of the Pac-12?
I did. Yep.
So, how do you feel about that?
It's good for them. They're the only two teams left in the Pac-12. I guess they get to
Yeah,
decide
no.
who they can invite in, or
Well, what it was is some of the outgoing teams, they had been upset that that happened. They thought that that wasn't fair. But
well,
I
because they
mean,
wanted like a buyout or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Oh, hmm.
most likely. But I mean, even still,
They left the conference.
it's like
It is what it is. Yeah.
yeah, you make the bed, you got to sleep in it. So
I mean, I know that Oregon and Washington are only coming in at half, and that's another thing. That's another thing about Kalen DeBoer leaving Washington is Washington. They only get a split 50% of the revenue
mhm.
share. Now Oregon does, but Oregon, remember, has a donor that is the 19th wealthiest person in the world.
Yeah,
So when your top donor, who basically makes what is worth what I'm trying to think off the top of my head, 42 billion. When your don't I almost said top boner, your top boner, but like Phil Knight could request that they pay they have a what tell them next media rights deal, which is a media rights deal 5 or 10 years, I don't know. But if it's like a 5 year deal, he could literally request that he covers the other half. Whereas Washington doesn't have a Phil Knight.
yeah.
So, I mean, obviously a bunch of donors can chip in, but they don't have the 19th wealthiest man in the world. So, where's Bob? Bob,
I
Bob,
don't know.
Bob, 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 Bob.
I'm sending him a message to see what happens.
I'm
But
like
yeah, no.
super thirsty right now. The Pac. So, what is the name of this podcast? I'm looking at myself
Top
right now.
25 rundowns.
Top 25 rundown. Back on top, Pac-12 power shift. Okay, gotcha.
I know, but I'm waiting to see about that. And then, what did you think of the playoff rankings last night?
Oh, same old, same old. The only change was really Georgia up to number one, and that made sense because what Georgia's beaten a ranked Missouri, ranked Ole Miss, so back to back, top 25 wins. They beat Ole Miss by 25. So, yeah, it made sense. I thought Georgia might move up to number one. Ohio State still number two. I think they're over. Like, only thing is like, why is Ohio State over Michigan?
Well, who's Michigan played
They beat Penn
besides
State.
Penn State? Besides Penn State,
Okay, so Ohio State beat Penn State, same team, and Notre
Notre
Dame,
Dame.
but Notre Dame's not that good. They're like number 20.
Michigan has only beaten Rutgers for a team that's high.
But
Besides Penn State,
okay, so Ohio Michigan's been a lot more dominant. Michigan also won by more against Penn State at Penn State as opposed to at home. I'm just not understanding why Michigan's higher than Ohio State. I think Michigan's look better. So, I mean, look at the scores. They've won by more.
They have one by more, that's true. But see, there was something I saw last night when they were doing
Well,
the
of course you're gonna look at this objectively with your freaking Ohio
no,
State
no,
shirt on.
no. I'm gonna read something to you that they said on the college football playoff show, sir. So you can just wait a second. Thank you. It said the All-State playoff predictor, the best chances to win. Michigan's actually the top one at 67%, Florida State's second at 65, Ohio State's third at 64, Georgia's fourth at 52, Alabama's fifth at 41, Oregon's sixth at 39, Texas is seven at 37, Washington's eight at 33, then Oklahoma and Louisville are tied at ninth with 1%.
To make the playoff?
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't get
All-State
I don't
playoff
get
predictor.
I don't get that because the loser of Michigan Ohio State won't make the playoff. Oh, well, I shouldn't say they will probably not make the playoff. I shouldn't say won't because you never know. Stuff can happen. But whoever loses that game probably doesn't make the playoff
Probably not.
because you'll have the SEC champion. I mean, assuming Florida State finishes undefeated, and then you have the Pac-12 champion or the Big 12 champion if it's Texas. It just seems like they would all be picked. But, yeah, I guess after I said that, I'm like, well, Texas could lose and Florida State could lose, and then Oregon and Washington could both lose. And then, yeah, then you could have both of them. I really hope they don't. I don't like when it's my biggest pet peeve
Mhm.
has been the years that there's been two teams from one conference. Georgia, Alabama again, Ohio State, Michigan. I don't want to see teams from the same conference unless, yeah, I mean, in some cases it is what it is. But if you have like a one loss or an undefeated conference champion, they should be in.
So would you put Texas in over Alabama?
Yeah, all being equal, yeah. They beat them at Alabama. I think Alabama's probably better now. Texas hasn't looked as good, but it is what it is.
I mean, Quinn Ewers has been injured off and on, and then I guess they lost their running back last week. So
Towards ACL, yeah. And yeah, yours is battle injury. So that's been part of the problem is injuries, but we'll see.
and no, man, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it, just because we still got a few weeks to go, and it's going to be.
Why does it keep on? Sorry, every time I try to pull up my thing, I'm having this video come on.
No, but also for the standings, congratulations, you've starting to break away a little bit now. You're at 81, Bob's at 74, I'm at 71, and Santiago's at 68. So,
Yeah, see, I have won. Yeah, I've won the last, wow, won the last 3 weeks.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what to say.
No,
Um,
I mean, it's fair, man.
I was the
That's
one that
why
picked Oregon not to cover, and they actually won, and they
I
won.
know.
I don't
Yeah,
go.
the,
I
the
don't
funny
always.
thing was,
I go with what I think is going to happen. I don't go just because they're my team, like other people do.
how many games have we won? Okay, that's right. Yeah, we're still undefeated,
No,
so
that doesn't make any sense to this. That actually makes absolutely zero sense to this. This is because this is a spread. I. How does that make any sense?
depending on who they play. I mean, like
You
last week,
always
even
pick
though they were
no.
not
You
in,
always what is having. This is not this is not a win or lose. It's a spread. This is not straight. Sorry, I try to think of the word. I'm getting tired. I'm getting really tired right now. This is not a. Yeah, this is not straight up. This is a spread. So what the heck does your comment? How many? What's her record mean?
Almost every time when they've had to cover or they've had a spread,
No, they have not covered. That is fundamentally not true. That is not true. That is a blatantly false statement.
okay,
They did not cover against Indiana. They didn't cover against let me look at it. Well, Ohio State football. Because I've noticed you always pick them no matter what, and you've been wrong a few times. Ohio State, come on. Ohio State football. Okay. They didn't cover against Youngstown State. They didn't cover against Indiana.
and a
They
5-1.
don't think they covered against Notre Dame. I think it was like a 4-point favorite, and they didn't cover. They didn't cover against Maryland. I remember it was like 21. They did cover against Purdue. I remember that. They did cover Penn State. No. Penn State, I think, was like 8.5. So I don't think they covered. They didn't cover against Wisconsin. I remember it was 14.5. They actually did cover against Rutgers, but it was like they shouldn't have. They like
True.
they ended up scoring really late, and then they did cover against Michigan State. But I just mentioned they haven't covered in like half their games.
Yeah, the record against spread is 5-4-1 this year.
It's 5-4-1. Well, you didn't do them,
5-1.
but so 5-4-1. So that's why you've lost, because you've picked a lot of the Ohio State games, and you always pick them to cover, and they've lost. So you've been like batting about 500. So what I'm saying is we're talking about this and you're like, what's the record? And I'm like, it doesn't matter what the record is. Your record could be 11-0. If you're never covering the spread, you're going to be 0-11 in this pick'em in this spread league.
Well, speaking of newcomers, Bob Alvis has finally arrived.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
It's
What,
been an interesting conversation so far. So,
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
well, because we were talking about how I'm like kicking Allen's butt in the league, which is and Allen was like, "What's Ohio State's record?" And I'm like, "Not very good against the spread." I'm like,
well,
yeah.
last time,
I mean,
see, for me,
is,
I don't always worry about against spreads. I
but then
don't.
you're not going to win the league.
Oh no. Oh no. Whatever will I do? I'm not going to win the league.
Vote 1, Ohio State.
No.
Vote 2, spread league.
Like, you don't care if you win
Separate your
the league.
votes.
You care if you win the league. You care.
If I could, guys. If I don't, oh well. There are
So
worse things.
I was just saying, well, maybe the reason why you're not doing well is you pick Ohio State to cover the spread every week and they don't. So then you lose those games. And Allen's comeback is, what's their record? And I'm like, that's nothing. That's a red herring or a false equivalence to this particular argument. I'm like, what does that have to do with this? Why? I've always tried to guide you in the right direction. Allen, the 1 week I was like, hey man, maybe you should like not just always pick to cover and win, and you did it and you won that week. I remember I said that to you, remember? So now I'm like, hey, Ohio State, I know they're your team, I know you love them, I know all that good stuff, but maybe don't always pick them to cover the spread. If the spread is 100, maybe they won't cover 100. I don't know. I did that with Oregon. How did that work out for me? I won last week because you
Yes,
guys
you
all
did.
said Oregon was going to cover an 18-point spread over USC. I'm like, that seems a little much. Seems like USC will get a late touchdown. And guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah. Well, no, because the last time when I picked against Oregon,
Yeah, that's
it's
another
like I
team. that you've like done the worst bets on. Like Colorado was going to lose to them. Washington State. No. You were right about that one. Oh, where's the other one? Was it Utah?
Yeah, it was Utah.
I mean, I will give you a break on Utah because Utah is good at home. And I didn't think they're going to whoop Utah like that.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
you did another bad. Was it Texas Tech?
I
It may
think
have been.
Colorado was the one that you were most upset about.
Well, because I'm like,
Yes.
Colorado's not good. What's their record now? No, now I am going to pull this record. What's Colorado's record?
They are 4-6, 4-5.
Okay, 4-6. So did I say they weren't any good? Did I say
think you
I
said
don't think
pick them week 1 too.
what?
I think you said don't pick them week 1.
Probably because I didn't really think they're going to be that good, and they haven't been. So I looked at the matchup between Oregon and Colorado, and I'm like, I like this for Oregon. I don't like how they can't block anyone on the offensive line, and they can't get after the quarterback, and it's on the road. I'm like, I don't think this is a very good game for them. You and Santiago. Actually, Santiago, though, hold on. I think,
He's not in second.
He's in 4th.
He's in 4th, but to be fair to him, he didn't pick any games week 5.
I know. I had to tell him after I tried to let him know because he didn't do it. So I told him. He's like, oh, crap, I forgot. I'm like,
because if he would have picked week 5, Alan, he'd probably be above you, and he might be above you too, Bob.
We don't know that. That's an accusation that we don't know. And here's the thing, too.
He would have had to done really bad not to be above you guys.
Dude, how many times have a lot of people, except for the great Tyler Turner, by the way, a lot of people will hit 6
I'm
every
not
now
bragging
and then.
about myself. I've
A
actually
lot of
Yeah,
people
okay.
hit 6.
yeah, sure.
But
Okay.
so 6. So if Santiago would have just hit 6 in
He'd be
week,
tied with me.
he'd be tied with you.
Let me come to Alan's defense real quick here. Real quick.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yes, I do. And he didn't ask me to, by the way. This was no I love those glasses, by the way. They're clear and you look like the smartest person on this thing right now. I keep mine on my head just so my head can see too.
I'm
Anyway,
trying.
Anyway, it looks very much like the Liberty women's basketball commentator Jamie Hall. Y'all must have gone glasses shopping
Okay,
together.
now they're going off. Woman's commentator.
Nice.
Anyway, so let me ask you a question. Is Alan's comment of Ohio State, what's their record, a bigger sin than not actually picking a week? To me, not picking a week is like you're in a fantasy football league and you don't set your lineup.
Yeah, no, if
that is a sin.
Yeah, obviously Santiago basically would have had to been a maestro at all of his other picks to give himself a chance to win the league.
So basically, what we're saying is Santiago is a greater sinner than Allen.
Oh, I agree with Allen. Okay. But to defend Santiago, he's maybe been a little bit better in the weeks he's picked than Allen. And he can actually catch Allen.
To defend Allen, his team is undefeated, by the way.
Oh, oh, yeah. It's going to be really funny when they get their butts whooped by Michigan.
I got a question. Alan, how old are you?
I'm 39.
Tyler, how old are you?
Ditto. Same.
Okay. Well, I'm 44, so respect your elders here. I don't care what you do with them. But this one, I'm the elder.
40, so, wow, you are old.
Anyway, I know, dude. It's all downhill from here. Wait till next June. When I hit 45, I'm going to be going to bed by 9.
When do you turn 40, Alan?
In April.
Yep, I'm older than you, so you need to respect your elders, Alan.
When do you turn 40?
February. 2 months, baby.
I'll put you on the birthday list. What's the date?
February 23rd.
All right.
Keep that in mind.
Is he actually putting it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah. This is something he does, so
Okay,
which is a good thing.
and then we got to get around to picking these games because I do got to go to bed at like some kind of decent
I don't
hour.
do many things right, but birthdays I can hit.
Thanks,
I
Bob.
vouch for Bob on that, 100%.
Oh, the good thing is game number 1 is the future Big Ten champion.
I'll go Michigan just to make this easy and to get this moving along.
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, Michigan.
I don't like big
That's
numbers, but
Michigan.
Michigan's got this whole it's us against the world thing going very well right now.
Yeah,
Very well.
Although them
and
calling themselves America's team, that's a joke.
and he's so mad. And Maryland is not very good. They're playing terrible right now. They were pretty good
Let's see
early
what
in the year.
happens.
Well, who do you got, Alan?
I have Michigan. I mean, Maryland's not going to beat them.
But you have them to cover too. I know they're not going to beat them, but you think they cover?
Yeah, they'll cover.
So you got Maryland covering?
No, I thought you said
No.
Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Gotcha.
Michigan.
Sorry.
Michigan's going to win probably by like 20, 28. So, see how that goes. Next game we have at noon on ABC, we have Louisville against Miami. Louisville is a 1.5 point favorite. Who you got, Tyler?
I don't love this. It's at Miami. Miami has, but it is at Miami. Louisville, I still think they're a little bit of a like they're 9-1, but they barely beat Virginia at home last week, and they still don't have a ton of talent. It's at Miami. I don't know. This is kind of hard for me because I think Miami could win this game because they actually probably have better talent. But then Miami has not looked that great. Louisville has a lot more to play for. Ah, man. I'm going to go Louisville.
Ditto. I don't agree with everything he said, but ditto on the pick. I think this is a weird game. I almost don't know why it's on the pick, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think it'll be a pretty good game. That's probably why. I think that Miami could beat them at home. So
I'm going to pick Miami.
ooh. I initially was going to go Miami, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I just don't know if they have enough to play for. And I don't trust Mario Cristobal. That snake. You know who he used to coach, right?
Oh yeah, that reminds me.
Are you going to say the same thing about Dan Lanning when he goes to A&M?
He's not going to go to. We already talked about this. He's not going to A&M. How much do you want to wager on that, Bob?
I don't, because I'm honestly Texas A&M is kind of like the wild card of all wild cards, where I have no idea what they're going to do, and I don't even know if they know right now.
Okay, if we had to predict, okay, so we were talking about this earlier. We might as well do it now. Just quick interruption. You have to make a prediction who the next head coach of A&M will be. Who is it going to be?
I'm trying to help you, by the way, because I know you said you got to go to bed, so I'm trying to speed this along. I still think it's going to be Dan Lanning.
No, it's not. He already's on the record saying he's not going to go.
Oh, yeah. People never say one thing and then do something else.
He's not. No. Why would Dan Lanning go to A&M?
Why would he not?
Okay, Big Ten job, top 10 job in America. He's in a playoff hunt. Why would he go to?
3 letters, SEC. And Texas A&M can pay him out the yin yang.
Yeah, but
Oregon would never be able to pay what A&M pays.
That would be the only thing is that everything else, he's probably going to be in a more advantageous position in the Big Ten than A&M is in the SEC.
Let me ask you a question real quick. I don't mean to interrupt, but do you think anybody ever goes somewhere that they don't want to go just because the money is so great they can't not go?
I just think it's bad timing for him. His team's literally in the playoff hunt. If Oregon was not in the playoff hunt, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, man, I don't know. But because they're in the playoff hunt, I think they end up getting Mike Elko.
If he's such a great coach, he can turn that thing around in 2 years.
He could, but why would he leave a team that when they're about ready to make the playoffs? A good team that's going to a good conference.
We'll wait till the season's over.
Why would A&M wait? That's going to kill that's going to really hurt their current recruiting class.
It won't stick a hole in that NIL budget. I don't think Mike Elko's a big enough name.
I will bet you that Lanning is not who they get.
Oh, I don't doubt. Honestly, you said
I'll bet you 10. I'll bet you 10. Okay, I'll bet you $10 it won't be Lanning.
Didn't you say who would I pick?
Yes, I think there's more likely. I was telling Alan this offline. I think it's more likely Kalen DeBoer.
I disagree 100%.
Because, Kalen DeBoer, Washington is a lesser job than Oregon.
Sure.
You're not going to make as much as at Oregon. They're going to the Big Ten where they're probably not one of the top 5 schools. Why wouldn't he take A&M's job?
Because he's just not going to be offered it.
Oh, okay.
That's why. I don't see Kalen DeBoer, honestly. I mean, if you
don't see Mike Elko. He was a defensive coordinator for A&M.
I don't think he's a big enough name. I think they're a little name hungry, honestly.
Okay, then maybe why wouldn't Lincoln Riley?
Because they don't want Lincoln Riley. Do you want Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley to go to the NFL.
Yeah, I do think Lincoln Riley.
Come on down, Dabo.
I
wouldn't be shocked.
Probably not, but at this point, he's got a little annoyed how Clemson fans are treating him. You don't know. People are fickle. He's already won 2 national titles there. Maybe he will want to go to A&M and try to win one there.
And, I get that you poached one ACC coach to an SEC school, and it didn't work out. With all due respect, Dabo Swinney's not Jimbo Fisher, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
no, Dabo would be if they could get Dabo, of course.
I think Mike Elko is probably the safest choice outside of maybe that Murray guy that's at UTSA.
Oh, Trailer.
I'm sorry, Trailer. I think those are the 2 safest.
Tell him. Alan didn't know. So tell him, Alan.
I didn't know his name, apparently.
Tyler is related to him. So
no,
really?
No.
What, 18 cousins away?
My uncle is his chief of staff. My uncle and him coached at Gilmer High School. He was the head coach. My uncle was the offensive coordinator.
Where's Gilmer?
In Texas.
Okay.
He was like a high school coaching legend. He won 3 state titles. Yeah. And then he ended up getting on Charlie Strong's staff. When he left, my uncle became the head coach for Gilmer.
Okay.
And then when he got the head coaching job at UTSA, my uncle left Gilmer to be his chief of staff. And my cousin who played for Traylor, he was the quarterback for Traylor at Gilmer. He is offensive analyst.
So do we like Traylor or do we not like Traylor?
I was telling him, I said, if you want a dark horse guy who people don't know as well, but is a high school legend, he's from the area, he's done a great job at UTSA. I think that'd be a really good hire. He's a Texan through and through too.
Right. But it's not a name. It's not a name.
The problem isn't like I told him because Baylor is thinking about getting rid of Aranda and Houston.
Why?
He's not doing well. He's had a really bad year.
What is this, 1?
Well, he didn't have a good year last year either.
Okay.
They said the
decent last year.
They were 7-6. They said that they were starting to quit, and then Holgerson is not doing very well at Houston for the last couple of years. So they're thinking about possibly. I've heard from a couple of different sources things that said that they're thinking about getting rid of Aranda, and they're thinking about getting rid of Holgerson. Those jobs would for sure offer Traylor. Like Houston would take Traylor in a second.
What about Mississippi State?
Would they take Traylor?
I'm asking you.
No, they'll take Jamie Chadwell.
No, they will. I don't think
they will try to take Jamie Chadwell.
I don't think Jamie Chadwell is going to Mississippi State.
But they'll try to take him.
Well, they might try, but
they'll interview him.
I've been trying for a perfect 10 model for about 20 years now, and it hadn't happened yet. So
they'll try to get Jamie Chadwell.
Good luck.
Someone will eventually be tough for Chadwell to turn down. Come on, I'm a Liberty guy, but we have to be honest.
I'm not a Liberty guy,
but I know. Yeah, of course, I know. That's why we don't want Chadwell to leave.
Here's my thing. Chadwell, who is Chadwell's most compared to coach that came from a small school at the same time as he did?
Lance
Billy
Leipold?
Napier.
Oh, Napier, okay.
And how well is Billy Napier working out? Billy Napier is probably 1 year away from being on a really hot seat.
Yeah, I don't think Florida's a great job anymore.
But I think the lack of success Billy Napier has, can it scare other big schools from hiring somebody who, and I like Chadwell. It's not anti-Chadwell at all, but who essentially had a similar resume.
But I could see Mississippi State, which is a lower tier SEC school, having to settle for him.
You could be right.
Because who's going to go to Mississippi State?
Traylor?
You're going to make a lot of money. I don't think so. He's a Texan through and through.
Okay.
I think I don't think he gets the A&M job. You notice I didn't mention him because I don't think he's a big enough name, but I think he's going to wait for Baylor.
Who's at Texas Tech right now?
Joey McGuire. He would go. So I think Traylor waits for Texas Tech, Baylor, or Houston to open up because he's a Texan through and through.
Yeah.
Texas, born, raised, high school coach, only coached in Texas. I don't think he goes to Mississippi. That's why. Because he can wait around. He'll get a Texas job. Right, Alan?
Sure.
Okay, let's get back to this.
Yeah, you got to go to bed tonight at some point.
Yeah.
Oklahoma and BYU is next, by the way. BYU plus 24.5. I'm not trying to hijack Alan. I'm just trying to get Sleeping Beauty to where he doesn't turn into.
Well, I mean, every time he says, "Oh, I need to go to bed early," and then next week, look, it's 12:30. Oh yeah, I still need to go to bed early. Yeah,
it turns into a 55-minute coaching search.
Because
don't blame me for this.
Because it's an entertaining podcast, Alan. Jeez, telling you you're doing a good job.
I got BYU 24.5 is a lot of points for me. I just can't. I know BYU's record's not that good. But 24.5 is a lot for me.
Yeah.
Oklahoma going on the road. If it was that Oklahoma, I could be convinced the other way, I think.
Ditto. Same. I was the same thing. I was like 24. I'm like, I could see them win by 21. And BYU really isn't playing very well, but 24.5, that's a lot.
Venables was off to a good start where he's blowing teams out early, but a lot of his games now have been a lot closer. So yeah, and I'm picking BYU as well. Next game we have Utah and Arizona. Arizona's a half a point favorite.
So essentially a pick.
Yep, it's a pick 'em. It's at Arizona.
And it's also on the Pac-12 network, which nobody will get to see.
Except for me on my hijack site.
You're busy on Saturday, I think.
If you guys want, yeah, I have to be at the game, but then I have to actually leave the game too.
Most people go to a game and then leave the game. That's how it works.
No, I mean I've got to leave like after first quarter.
That's how it used to be when I was there in the band.
Back to this because Bob's distracting us with his sarcastic.
Breaking news, Alan. I'm going home after the game on Saturday too. I'm leaving.
I'm tired. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock. I actually kind of consider this. This is a really good game. And I think most people would say Arizona because Arizona has been super hot. They're at home. But this just screams a game that Kyle Whittingham figures out a way to pull it out. So I'm going to go with Utah. I don't love it because Arizona's playing really well. And it's at home. But I think
there some stat that Whittingham is awesome at covering?
Well, it's kind of hard. He either has to win or lose this one.
No, I know. But I think there's some stat like since Whittingham has gone to Utah, the covering numbers are supremely in his favor.
Well, Whittingham's a good coach. Like if you were to straight up ask me the top 10 best coaches, you can easily, most people can think of like, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and all that, Ryan Day. But I tell you what, Kyle Whittingham, he rivals any of them.
Are we taking your kinfolk out of the equation?
He can because that's a group of 5. Because he always can figure out either how to win games he shouldn't or how to be competitive games that he shouldn't. That's what shocked me about the 29-point victory by Oregon this year. It's like it's very difficult to beat the fire out of a Kyle Whittingham coach team.
Give me Utah. I'll make it short.
And how about Jed Fish for UCLA? Huh?
Jed Fish's nephew helped me move in from my old house to my new house.
Oh, nice.
All seriousness.
Here in Virginia.
You're correct.
Where's he live?
Jed?
No, his
He lives in
nephew.
Arizona, I believe.
His nephew.
His nephew used to live in Lynchburg, worked with me at WSET. It's not his nephew, it's his cousin. I'm sorry. Now he lives in Winchester.
Ask him if
That's near
Jed
Ryan.
ask him if Jed Fish is going to take the UCLA game.
I'll ask him tomorrow. Whittingham is 114 and 92 against the spread. That's 55%, which is not bad, honestly.
I'm gonna take Arizona.
Ooh. Oh, who are you taking, Alan?
You just took Arizona.
No, sorry, not Alan. I'm tired.
I took
Gosh,
Utah.
I'm tired.
I took Utah.
Okay.
Bob took Utah. Next game we have 3:30 ESPN. North Carolina going against Clemson. Clemson's a 6.5-point favorite.
I got Clemson, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, same. Literally the same. Clemson, but I don't feel great because they have a bunch of injuries in their secondary, and Drake May's, pretty darn good quarterback. But Clemson's playing pretty good, and their offense is playing pretty good.
And Dabo's grouchy because of all these callers.
And North Carolina's defense stinks.
I'll pick Carolina to cover.
But Clemson to win?
Yep.
Okay.
Clemson to win. Next game we have is 3:30 NBC Wake Forest going against Notre Dame.
Ouch.
Notre Dame's a 24.5-point favorite.
It's a big spread.
I don't like big numbers, but I'm taking Notre Dame.
Yeah, because Wake Forest isn't very good. Man, I don't like that much though.
That's the team.
I pick Wake.
Wake.
I just changed this one. I think Wake covers. I think Notre Dame wins by like 17 points.
I pray Notre Dame wins by 25 now, just to spite you.
I hope. I'm sure you do, because then otherwise you can't catch me.
Right. Well, touchdown Jesus. He hears my prayers, even though I'm not Catholic.
I'm gonna take Notre Dame as well, honestly. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, gotta catch me.
We have
Either I'm gonna be 1 point further away from you, Alan, or you're one closer.
And Bob.
As you can tell, I'm very scared right
Bob,
now.
I don't think you care. Alan's
night.
the one that cares. He's angry. He just beats a bag behind him.
So let me tell you my Saturdays. When I look and I don't see I play the immaculate grid every day: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. And I grimace when I don't go 9 of 9 on baseball, especially because that's my sport. When I see that I missed a pick, I'm cussing you under my breath, Tyler.
Wow.
I'm saying Christian curse words like "dad gum him."
I live in the same city. You can invite me over to hear you curse if you want.
Well, be glad you don't live in the same apartment complex, because I might go banging on your door and put a bag of poop there and light it on fire. Good old Halloween prank.
Oh, that was a little harsh.
Well, I told you I get grouchy. What do you expect?
All righty, next game, 3:30 on CBS. We have Georgia going against Tennessee. Georgia's a 10.5-point favorite, and this is going to be at Tennessee.
I don't like this game, but I'm taking Georgia.
What? Why don't you like the game?
I don't like the spread. I feel this feels weird. Tennessee has not played that well. I don't think Georgia is going to lose regardless, but
it is at Tennessee.
It feels sneaky for some reason.
The only thing that I don't like, because in every Georgia's hot, Tennessee's not. Georgia's better. Georgia's great. Tennessee's not that great. But Tennessee is good at home. I mean, you saw what they did last year, and even this year, undefeated at home. But I have Georgia, but yeah, Tennessee is good at home.
I'm going to pick Tennessee to cover.
Oh, man! Right
now, Georgia to win.
Alan is like go big or go home this week. I like.
Who'd you pick, Turner?
Georgia.
Okay.
And you said you picked Georgia as well, Bob.
I did, yes, sir.
All right.
And so I don't change my picks, by the way. So whatever you hear me say, I don't go back and look at it before Saturday.
Okay.
So just want that stated.
All right. Next game, 3:30 ACC Network is NC State going against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a 3.5-point favorite. Who you got, Tyler?
NC State's playing pretty good right now, but it's at Virginia Tech.
It is.
I see Virginia Tech getting blown out.
I'm gonna take NC State. I initially picked Virginia Tech, but I'm like, North Carolina State's actually playing pretty good.
Give me NC State too.
You know what? I just thought of that. Dave Doran at A&M.
No, don't think so. Not
He's
a big name.
He's a pretty good coach, though. I do agree. I don't think he's a big enough name, but he's a good coach. Might be a smart pick.
Well, I don't think A&M's going smart pick. I think they're going big name pick.
Well, they should go smart because they've
Get
got
on the Lane train. Lane Kiffin coming to College Station.
When has Lane ever won a big game?
He's a bigger name than Dave Dorn or Mike Elko.
But when has he won a big game?
Dude, you're asking me to play logic with Texas A&M and with lots of money? I can't play logic when people have lots of money.
You can't play logic. Well, then how do we even hang around Allen?
Because Allen's not rich. That's how we hang around Allen.
He's hanging in he's sitting in his golden chair over there.
Well, just because you have a golden chair doesn't mean you're made of money. I mean, I like Allen and everything, but he's not doing backflips into 50s every day.
How do you know?
There's something I don't know. I mean, he's pretty much told me he doesn't. Scrooge McDuck, who jumped from his diving board into pools of money. I mean, I don't think anybody that I know is doing that, except for the people that go to Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, they did give a check for 160 million last week. So,
yeah, that's the thing. Jimbo's getting what, 81 million to go away.
78, I believe.
Well, I could take $10 and go away and be fine.
Hey, who are you taking, Alan?
I'm gonna take Tech.
Oh, man, you're going big. You're either going to be catching up this week or you're going to be way behind.
That's okay. That is okay. All right, next up we have the Chip Kelly getting fired game. 3-3 on ABC. USC against UCLA. USC is a 6.5-point favorite.
So wait a minute, I got a question. Is Chip Kelly getting fired before the game or after the game?
After the game.
Probably after.
Well, he's going to get fired with the loss.
Man, this is a battle of the teams that are coming in here. Like USC's lost 4 out of 5. UCLA's lost 3 in a row. Wow. This is ugly. Yeah, because I don't like a coach when he's basically going to be fired coming into a game. While Lincoln Riley's been very unimpressive this year, to be honest with you, I think USC wins.
Ditto. USC, in case nobody heard me.
Yep, USC for me as well. Next game, 4:00 ESPN2. We have Oklahoma State going against Houston. Oklahoma State's a 7.5-point favorite. And this is at Houston.
Okie State.
Yeah, man, they looked terrible last week. 45-3 to UCF.
Yeah.
But I saw
UCF.
Who did? I did too, I think.
No, you didn't. I don't think so.
Nope, only Bob.
I picked UCF.
Oh, really?
Only Bob picked him.
Okay.
Nice try.
Well, congratulations. It got you one step closer to being behind me.
Good. Nice try to take credit for something you didn't do at all. Congratulations.
Oklahoma State.
Whatever. All three of us in Oklahoma State.
Just point at the scoreboard.
Next game, 4:00 on Fox. Oregon against Arizona State.
Who'd you take?
He took
Oklahoma State as well.
Okay.
My 17-year-old daughter listens better than you do.
Thank you. Anyway, Oregon is going against Arizona State. Oregon is a 22.5-point favorite. It is at Arizona State.
Go ahead, Tyler.
And Tyler, your kicker is out. Your kicker is out this week, Tyler. So,
kicker for who?
Oregon, Boyle.
Oh, that's just the end of the game. He's like a backup. Why does it matter if he's out? I think Arizona State, for some reason, ends up covering in this game. I think it's like 42-21. That's like big spread again. Oregon's way better. Arizona State's playing pretty good though. Yeah, I think Arizona State actually finds a way to cover, but Oregon wins, obviously.
Ditto. Except I don't say obviously.
Ooh.
Same.
I
We
don't
all
say
have the
obviously.
same
I
pick
don't
for
care
this.
like you do.
It's true. That is true.
How can we not get a Liberty
Hey,
game?
Hey, Alan, you say your picks quick. We can't hear because he's like
I've heard every
talking.
one of them.
I didn't. Yeah, no.
You're not paying attention, Tyler. You need
You're
to
saying it too quick.
you
You're
get
saying
your
it too
Q-tips
quick.
out.
You're saying it too quick. I can't hear you like Arizona.
No. When he said we all
No.
were taking Oklahoma State, 1,
Okay,
2,
let's
3.
prove. Let's prove that.
Almost there.
Okay, let's prove that I'm right. When we'll go back and listen to it, just like when we did trivia a few weeks and
A little different.
someone swore that they said something first, and we went back. I
never said that.
But someone
No, I
else.
was the one that
did.
actually did. I actually see the thing about me, if I say something, I'll actually go back and check on it. So
So will I.
one other person here won't, but I actually will. So anyway,
How about
moving
the
on.
Jayhawks?
Who won't check on it?
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk.
Hold
Plus
on. No.
7.5.
Hold on. Who won't check
Kansas
on
State and Kansas.
No, who won't check on it?
Sir.
No,
Sir.
I was right, and I went back and checked on it, and I was right. I said that I said it first, and I went back and checked, and I was right.
I was the one that sent you the text, but yes, okay.
No, immediately when it was gone, I'd already heard that I picked first. So where did you assume that I wasn't? You were the one that was wrong. You swore you said it before me.
And yes, who sent you a text message afterwards?
I'd already known that
admitting
I
he
said it.
was wrong.
I already knew that I said it. You said I didn't. You told me I didn't go back and check. You right now said that I didn't go back and check.
Did you?
Yes, I said I did immediately, and I just didn't say anything back. I'm like, yeah, I knew I did. And then he went and told me, and then he's telling me that I didn't go back and check. He's like, oh, someone else didn't go back and check. Well, I did go back and check. You didn't ask me.
Okay, that's nice.
Well, then don't make the claim. Don't say that I didn't go back and check. You asked me first if I went back and checked.
Kansas.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna go K-State.
Yeah, I think because Jason Bean, I think,
and Lance Leipold never leaves Kansas, by the way, until he retires. I don't think.
I don't know. Michigan State, maybe. But I think that the problem is Jason Bean and Jaden Daniels might be out. And if that's the case, then yeah, they can't beat Kansas State. So for now, I'm going Kansas State. Otherwise, maybe change my mind.
All right.
Rivalry game at Kansas. I'll go Kansas.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I am going to pick Kansas State for the win. Next game, 7:30 ESPN, Florida, Missouri. Missouri is an 11.5-point favorite.
How come we don't talk about Mizzou's head coach of getting a bigger job?
Yeah, he could be up there for A&M, possibly.
So,
he's not going to go to Mississippi State.
I didn't say that. Let me ask you a question in all seriousness. Is Michigan State a bigger job than Missouri?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he'd go there, but I'm just making a point.
It's a little more competitive in the Big Ten on a consistent basis than Missouri in the SEC.
To me, and I'm just going off quick thinking here, Missouri might be the 4th or 5th least desired, recognizable job in the SEC, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know if I can. I'm trying to think of who would be 3rd.
Well,
Vanderbilt, Mississippi State are number 1 and 2, I think. Am I missing somebody? Arkansas, maybe?
No, I think Arkansas is better because it's closer to Texas.
And then to me, here's the thing. Arkansas has been in the SEC a longer time. I still think of Missouri, like, when are they playing that Big 12 school this time?
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Think about that.
I know. So, yeah, he's done a pretty good job. Yeah, maybe Michigan State. That would still kind of be kind of weird. Missouri to Michigan State, I don't know. That would seem almost as odd as a guy jumping from Oregon to Texas A&M.
Nobody thought Lincoln Riley was going to go to USC.
No, that's true. That's true.
I mean, and here's the
That
thing too
that is true.
about all these guys, about Uncle
And
Jeff and everybody.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah, well, I think Lincoln Riley was much bigger shock than the rest of these people. Brian Kelly was surprising too.
Yeah, that's surprising.
But you've got to think about all these jobs next year of if somebody doesn't take Michigan State, Mississippi State, I'm taking Texas A&M out because I think they're on a different level with the money and everything. But what jobs do you think are going to be open next year? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's maybe in the back of the head of some people. But anyway, you're rubbing your eyes, so we need to keep going here.
Yep. The next game is Washington, Oregon State. 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Washington's a half-point favorite.
Wait, did we pick Missouri and Florida?
I thought we did. I thought we all picked Missouri. Did you not?
No, I did not.
So you're picking the Gators.
No, I'm picking Missouri, but
okay.
I don't remember hearing anyone pick.
I said Mizzou, I think.
Okay. Well, we're picking Mizzou then.
We went off on Eli Drinkowitz
sorry.
narrative. That's fine. Yeah, I picked Missouri.
All right. So, like I said, Washington, Oregon State. Washington's a half-point underdog.
Give me Washington.
It is at Corvallis.
It feels weird.
Don't like this game for Washington. They've been playing games really close. Oregon State super good at home. They play very good defense at home. They run the ball well, especially at home. They've only lost one game at home in the last 3 years.
Who's Oregon State's coach?
Jonathan Smith. And yes, he could possibly be a candidate for like something like UCLA for sure. If that's what you're thinking.
No, I was thinking more of USC to be honest with you.
Oh, after Lincoln Riley lives? Oh,
correct.
Yeah.
Or Oregon after Lanning leaves. I truly, hand on a stack of whatever you own wholly, I truly believe there is a shot, even though he said what he said. I think he's more realistic than this Dan Campbell foolishness.
Oh, I agree. I agree. He's more realistic than Dan Campbell because that's for sure not happening. Even though Dan Campbell would be a good college coach.
I think
it's too bad he has to stick the rest of the season out because I would like to see Dan Campbell in college football. He's a fun coach.
Didn't work too well for the last NFL coach that came to A&M.
But Campbell, would be successful.
How do I know that?
Because he's just who would not want to go play for that guy? He drinks 10 shots. He drinks 10,000 milligrams of coffee a day or something. No, that couldn't be right. That couldn't.
Easy way to recruit.
That's Joe Barry. That's his defensive coordinator.
Well, he'll bring
Joe Barry.
What?
He'll bring Joe Barry too. If Joe Barry's pounding 10,000 shots of coffee.
He's the one who does that. Joe Barry's the one that drinks all the Red Bulls and the coffee.
It's not Dan Campbell? Because I've heard people say that Dan Campbell does that.
Dan Campbell's in the room. So he's getting the
well, they must have heard Joe Barry and they attributed it to him.
Yeah. Because Joe Barry used to do that when he was a defensive coordinator at Washington for the Redskins. All right. The last game we have is Texas and Iowa State, 8 p.m. on Fox. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. And it is Iowa State.
Give me the Cyclones.
Yeah. For some reason, Texas has been playing too close to the vest.
I think Iowa State wins it outright.
Yeah, I do too.
24-21.
Seems like Texas is going to lose one of these games. They've been playing it really close. I think they finally lose. I don't love Iowa State as a team, but they've been doing better than they initially looked like they would be this year.
Okay. I got Texas.
You're going to make a move, or you're going to make a move one way or another. You're going to be going up the up escalator or the down one. I don't know which.
Who did you pick again in the Washington State-Oregon State game?
I picked Washington.
Okay, so you both pick Washington?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think you guys. I mean, we'll see, but I think you both picked against me quite a bit.
I don't think I picked against you as much as Alan did.
Alan, yeah, he just seemed like all he was doing.
I think I only picked against you like 3 times, maybe 4.
You guys both picked Oregon, didn't you? No, you picked Arizona State.
I picked against you in Louisville. I picked against you in
Oregon,
Wake Forest, and Notre Dame.
Oh no, you same as Oregon. You picked Arizona
No, I
State
took Arizona State
to cover. I'm assuming you don't pick Arizona State to win, do you?
This is a cover pool, right?
Yeah, but would you pick Arizona? You don't pick them to win. Okay.
No. But I pick them to cover 22 and a half.
But you do think Iowa State doesn't just cover; they also outright win the game. Same here. I actually think they win by like 3 points.
So what's your tiebreakers, fellas?
24-21 Iowa State.
I have 59. I don't know what I had. It must have been 31-28 is what I'm assuming.
I have 60, so we'll see.
Man.
Well, 59-60, that's kind of close.
Yeah.
It's a pick 'em.
That it is. We'll see what happens indeed, fellas. All right,
Liberty should be on this thing.
Yeah.
All right.
At some point.
Maybe
maybe
the Conference USA Championship they'll be on there.
I doubt it because there'll be a Friday.
But so will the Pac-12.
So far, we have not seen any games on this thing other than a Saturday.
I know, but do you think they're going to leave the Pac-12 championship off it? That'd seem awful odd.
I don't know.
And next week, Oregon versus Oregon State's on a Friday.
I don't know.
So they're playing UMass this week.
We only have 2 weeks left, by the way, of this thingy.
Bowl season, baby.
I thought the Liberty UMass spread, honestly, was going to be a little bit lower than it was.
How much is it?
Alan, do you have it?
Yeah, it's 27.5.
Whoa.
I thought it'd be like 19.5 or 20.
Yeah, because UMass, even though they're 3-7, they have played a decently difficult schedule.
I don't care what type of schedule they play. 27.5 is a lot.
No, I said no.
Over under at 61.5.
No, I was saying UMass has.
Yeah, no, I know.
Meaning I wouldn't have the spread that high.
Well,
because I think UMass is a little better than
Liberty, and ODU was only a 13.5 point spread, which I think was kind of low. But you're adding 2 touchdowns to that.
I don't think that was too low, but yeah, obviously Liberty ended up giving them a big butt whooping. But actually, I thought ODU was going to be a decently competitive game.
I think everybody thought that.
I was shocked how bad it's so funny. If you would have picked 2 games this year that you would just think Liberty would have wiped the team out, you would have picked Sam Houston State and Sam Houston State and Middle Tennessee State, and both those games were very competitive.
Honestly, and I have witnesses. I honestly thought Liberty would handle ODU on the spread when I saw it, just because it screamed LU's got to have a breakout, and I thought this was it. The real question is Illinois and Iowa this week, over under 30.5. Give me under all day long. Until proven otherwise. I can't take Iowa's over at all.
Hey, it's so odd. Iowa, you just hear people mocking their offense and just talking like, just making fun. I listen to these podcasts. They always make fun of Iowa. Iowa is like 8-2 and rated number 16.
And that job, I think, will be open.
And if it wasn't for a bad play call on a punt where they said the guy called a fair catch, they would have beaten Minnesota. So they'd be 9-1 and have a legitimate chance to, be 11-1 team to play for the Big Ten title.
I think
I don't know how they do it.
Is going to be encouraged to retire.
Why would they encourage him? He's still winning.
Okay, so let me take you back to a little story. Virginia used to have a coach named George Welsh.
Okay.
George Welsh was like 6-7 wins every year when that meant something. Virginia was in bowls every year. This was before things got crazy into the bowl era. People, I think, would kill for 7-win seasons every year. now, because George, I think, did it like 15, 16 years in a row. That's still, in my opinion, to this day, still pretty impressive, even in the eras of the Clemsons, the Georgias, the Alabamas, and so forth. Because a lot of these teams, I think, that are, quote, middle of the road teams, don't get 7 wins every year. So I don't think Iowa appreciates what Kirk Ferentz does for them, to be honest with you. And I think, if you drive a dependable car, but you see the new shiny model out that maybe is not as good, you want that new shiny model. You've got dependable with Kirk Ferentz. I totally agree with you. I don't think he should be encouraged to retire either.
Would Bob Stoops come back and coach the Iowa Hawkeyes?
I don't think so.
He started there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. That's the thing. I don't know what the
would Mike Stoops decide? Hey, I've had enough of Kentucky. I'm going to get paid the same, and
I don't know what
home.
the Iowa coaching tree looks like more recently, because when Hayden Fry was there, you had the Stoops.
Yeah,
and
they tend to. I'll say one thing because of just that region. That's where I'm from. My dad's from Iowa. They do. He's born in Creston, raised in Waterloo. Why? Are you from Iowa?
No, I'm not at all. But I have a really good friend whose family is from Iowa City.
Oh, okay. University of Iowa. But they tend to there's family and like loyalty to people that they would want to bring back someone connected. So
Sure.
like Bielema, but I wouldn't want Bielema, but he started there, and then obviously Snyder's gone, and Snyder's son, I don't know where he's at now, and then it's Stoops. And I just wonder if Bob Stoops would maybe be like, that's worth coming back to.
I think Mike Stoops.
Mike
or Mark?
Mike.
Mark. I call him Mark.
Well, Mark's the other one.
Okay, so there's a Mark Stoops.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky to Iowa is not necessarily a downward.
No, and maybe he's like, hey, and I heard Kentucky people are kind of being whiny, like, oh, he's not doing well enough, even though he's like been the best Kentucky coach in like, I don't know, ever. So if they're going to do that, Iowa opens up, he can go back home. Yeah.
And see, I think, not to interrupt real quick, but I think that stuff matters because we talked about Dabo earlier. I think when your fan base kind of takes you for granted.
Yeah. And if you're not from there, especially if you're not from there, especially if you came like from the outside and you're like, I got you guys to this position.
Yeah.
Like if Alabama opened up and went after Dabo, he'd go back home.
Let's be honest too. One thing about Kentucky, it's always going to be a basketball school.
Oh yeah. Same with North Carolina.
Right. But I don't think Iowa, I think has had more. I don't think Iowa you can call a basketball school. I don't know that I would call it a football school either. But it's kind of like one of those.
Pretty good at both. Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Stoops.
Yeah, if Ferentz leaves, I think they hire Stoops.
Then Chadwell,
and then Kentucky's open, and then Jamie Chadwell heads back there. Tell me that wouldn't be a tempting job for Chadwell.
We've solved all the world's problems, Alan. And Urban Meyer comes to Michigan State, and we're all happy.
Do you wish that upon Michigan State?
If Michigan State hired Urban Meyer,
they would be on probation even faster than they are now.
So you fired Mel Tucker for being a
pervert,
not well representing person of the organization, and you're going to bring in Urban Meyer,
who's a bigger.
Urban Meyer to West Virginia.
Jimbo Fisher to West Virginia.
Ooh,
he's from there.
Question about Jimbo. Does Jimbo forfeit the money if he starts coaching again? Or is
that I think he does. I don't think all of it. No, I think some of it maybe.
Because did Gus forfeit some of Auburn's money when he went back to coaching?
I think it was some. I'm not sure. I'm kind of just spitballing.
Because it depends on what sum is to me. Like if sum is like $5 million out of 79 or whatever it is, that's okay. If sum is like 50, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, how about Dan Mullen back to Mississippi State?
They'd probably take him.
Oh, they would, yeah.
I don't like reunions as much personally, but I don't like coming back the second time.
It was a positive. At least
Rich Rod?
Yeah, didn't think about him. Yeah,
I mean that's essentially
he's another.
it's kind of sort of like a Mike
Like
Leach.
he's slightly stained. He definitely can't go to. Yeah, actually, that's a good comparison.
So
If it wasn't for he obviously got fired from Arizona for personal
or
indiscretions.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Hmm.
What did he get fired for discretions?
No. He just got fired at Texas Tech, and
No,
then
he
went to the.
left.
No,
I
he got
thought
he got fired.
left.
No, he got fired.
So he got
Do you want to
fired.
bet?
So he did it.
Do you want to bet?
No, I don't. I don't gamble like you do. Apparently,
No, he got fired. So that was weird, right? He gets fired at Texas Tech and then gets hired in the
Then he goes
NFL.
to Arizona. Yeah.
Weird.
No, he got fired.
If I remember when he got fired at Texas Tech, it wasn't like an offer, was it? Wasn't it like a 5-6 or a 4-7?
But
Yeah.
they had some really good teams. I mean, look at all the great teams that Leach had. And then he went in there, and Cliff Kingsbury was just kind of being 5-7, 6-6.
Well, I don't mean to be mean, but Mike Leach ain't coming back through that door. And I think the thing about Mississippi State is I don't think that guy got a shot at all. I mean, you think about it this way: Mike Leach was the coach.
He did fire all of Mike Leach's offensive staff. I thought that was super stupid. Like, why would you fire? You had a system in place, the run and shoot, and then you fire them all.
If somebody dies, you don't make wholesale changes year one.
Well, not just that. I mean, I thought Leach had a good thing going offensively. Why would you just fire it and bring in a whole new kind of offense?
If somebody dies, you don't make wholesale changes year one.
Yeah. So I actually don't mind that they fired him.
Okay,
but honestly, if it wasn't for the personal indiscretions of Rich Rodriguez, that is actually because he's a lot like Mike Leach, like an innovative offensive mind, similar kind of up tempo. Actually, that's a great pick.
And let's be honest, it's Mississippi State. So I mean, it's not like you're just going to be able to pick the litter.
Yeah, he would take it. Yeah. Shoot, you might have gotten that one right in the head, man. The Troy coach is pretty good too. Summerall, he's done a good job at Troy.
Dan Lanning to A&M, and then Mike or Rich Rod.
Dan Lanning's not going to A&M.
After this conversation tonight, I am much more on the Dan Lanning to A&M train than anything in this world.
Yeah, and I'll bet you on it, and I guarantee you I'll win.
Well, real quick,
Shiny nickel.
dismissal from ESPN. The article when he got fired. It's going to cost more than $76 million to buy out his contract. According to it, he's owed $19.2 million within 60 days and $7.2 annually through 2031. There is no offset or mitigation on those payments, and they start 120 days after termination. So what that tells me is that he'll get paid even if he takes another coaching job.
Oh, he goes to West Virginia.
Fire the person that wrote that contract then. That's foolish.
So Neil Brown gets fired, which remember he was on the hot seat coming into the year. He's had a decent year, but does Jimbo Fisher become the new coach at West Virginia?
Yes.
I think that would make a lot of sense. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, because I think that would be he's good for West Virginia. He's the favored son coming back home.
Exactly.
Because if you fire Neil Brown, I was talking about this tonight with a college AD Division III. When you fire or when you get rid of, you always need to have a short list. And I think I brought this up to you guys too. If the short list doesn't work, and then you got to go, dumpster diving for the most part, that's not good because then the school looks like a bunch of fools. And then I think you've got to explain to recruits. You got to explain to your fan base, which people don't care about. You got to explain to your boosters. People do care about that. So if West Virginia fired Brown, I almost think you better know you're getting Fisher. Like, you better know.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get Fisher, I think plan 2 would probably be Rich Rod.
Again?
I think so. I don't like
I don't like reunions. For some reason, when you said Mississippi State, because of Leach, and I think of Leach and Rodriguez as kind of similar, like the creative, innovative offensive mind. For some reason, that makes a lot of sense because it's something different. You're Mississippi State, you're going to get less talent. You need to do something different. So you might as well have a creative offensive coach, and that's what Rich Rodriguez is.
Now, the big question I would ask anybody is, when does the recruiting genius wear off of somebody? Because Rich Rod hadn't been at West Virginia for at least 10, 15 years?
Yeah, but he still can coach. Now, would Chip Kelly...
recruiting's different, though.
Would Chip Kelly go to Mississippi State? Because he's going to get fired at UCLA. Would that be...
I don't know who would want Chip Kelly or where Chip Kelly would go.
Because Mississippi State just will not be able to get an elite coach. Like Dan Lanning's not going to Mississippi State.
I didn't say Dan Lanning to Mississippi.
Yeah, I know. But so I'm like, they can't get that kind of coach. So they have to get someone like Jamie Chadwell.
Well, I mean, Mike Leach was a good coach when he went to Mississippi State, but I think that was for a conference move up from Big 12 to SEC. And lower rung Big 12 to lower rung SEC. Because I don't think Texas Tech was, they weren't Oklahoma. They weren't Texas. They weren't A&M. Well, A&M might have been out of the Big 12 by this point. But you get where I'm going. So I think maybe I'm trying to think of it like a lower rung ACC.
What about the Fresno State head coach?
Who's that? Jeff Tedford?
Yeah.
Jeff Tedford was a cow.
Yeah. And he went and he left and then he came back. Yeah, he's a good coach. He's done good. He's had a good year, but
one other job you forgot to mention, and there could be a wild card for it, and people don't even talk about this because they haven't had a meaningful relationship with football since the Statue of Liberty play against Oklahoma, is Boise State.
Oh, yeah,
that's true.
You know who one of the outside names for Boise State is? Kellen Moore.
Oh yeah, I know. And his brother.
I think you got a better shot of his brother.
His brother's the offensive coordinator at Missouri.
I think you got a better shot of that than you do Kellen
I tell
Moore.
you, a guy to look for is Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for Washington.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I could see him being the head coach for San Diego State because Brady Hoke is leaving.
Yep. Trying to end the year.
So UCLA opens up. Who would you consider there? I got one guy right away. Two guys right away. I got Jed Fish, who used to be the offensive coordinator for UCLA, and he's done a great job at Arizona. And I got Jonathan Smith, who's from Pasadena.
I think Jed was an offensive assistant at the Seattle Seahawks as well.
Oh, Patriots too.
Yeah.
And he's done great. Look what he's done at Arizona. Been awesome.
Dion. How funny would that be, though? I mean, Colorado to UCLA.
I guess that's not totally. Yeah.
It won't happen, but it would be.
It won't. Yeah. But Jonathan Smith, especially that Oregon State got left out of a Power 5 conference or Power 4.
I think you've got a better shot of Dion going to USC, by the way, if Lincoln Riley were to leave, than you do Dion going to UCLA.
Ooh, USC would hire Dion. That's risky.
USC hired Lincoln Riley. USC's hired Pete Carroll.
But those are good coaches. Dion's 4-6.
Dion what?
Dion's only 4-6 this year.
I would go play for Dion. I think most people are going to have their 5 stars go play for Deion Sanders before they would Lincoln Riley.
I personally wouldn't. If I were any other school other than Colorado, I'd still be wait and see with Deion because unfortunately, I kind of predicted that maybe I didn't even know that they're going to have as hot a start as they did. But even when they had a hot start, I'm like, I got a feeling they're going to implode in Pac-12 play, and they're 1-6 in Pac-12 play.
Deion's always going to be able to recruit, though, just because his name says Deion Sanders on it. And if they don't have those injuries, they're probably bowl eligible right now. I'm not saying they're, undefeated.
And he did take over a 1-11 team. I mean, I understand, but he did lose a game like Stanford where they're up by 28.
And you could have lost Colorado State.
Yes.
And I'm not a super big Deion fan, but I'm just saying.
No, I actually really like Deion as a person. I'm just not totally convinced he can sustain a winning program.
Well, that's why you go to UCLA.
That's funny. Well, you said USC.
Well, I said if they both. I said UCLA at
Oh,
first, though.
we're gonna pull that one on USC.
I
mean,
almost
I
think
will admit, USC took a coach that had made the playoffs in 4 out of 5 years at Oklahoma. They took him, and he has not made the playoff at either year at USC, and he's going to finish either 8-4 and 7-5 this year.
with all due respect, they didn't take Lincoln Riley to make the playoff. They took Lincoln Riley to make championships.
And are they're not even winning Pac-12
right.
So I'm like, you know how for so long you're like USC is the best program on the West Coast. I don't think they are anymore. I think Oregon is. I mean, if you look over time, USC has won all the trophies and the Heisman, national titles and trophies. But over the last 15 years, compare the two. And it's not just 5 years. It's not just 10. It's 15 years.
I think it takes more than 15 years to develop a thing like that. USC is still the school to go to. Oregon is a school to go to for people that know football. But USC still has the mystique, the aura, and everything like that. Not Oregon.
But when it comes to football specifically, moving forward, I think Oregon is a better
we're talking people that know football. I'm not talking about Ma and Pa whose son can run really fast in the hayfield. I'm talking people that know football. Not parents.
Alan, you're not talking at all.
No, I'm looking. What about Rhett Lashley?
I'm on a roll.
Rhett Lashley?
SMU.
Well, the thing is, SMU is going to the ACC, so that's actually a pretty good job. He's a good coach. Yeah, I could see him maybe. Oh, he'd go to A&M. I just don't know if they'll offer him.
Well, and you got to think the other thing, too, about these schools that are moving from and I don't know how many there are, but I know there are some schools moving from one conference, smaller conference, to a bigger conference. The revenue opens up a little bit more, too, to where you've got more money to play with.
I mean, Rhett Lashley would leave for like A&M, yeah, but I just don't know if he'll leave for like UCLA, maybe. Yeah, he's a good coach. I mean,
I got one more question for you. Who would be, and then, Alan, I want you to answer too, sir.
I didn't do it.
Who would be this year's Lincoln Riley? And what I mean by that is a big coach that gets hired to maybe another bigger program. Is it Dabo?
Dan Lanning. Well, no. Actually, it could be. You know what? As crazy as it sounds, because of how Clemson fans are treating him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Dan Lanning's on Dabo's.
No, he's not.
Step yet.
I agree with you.
I got a different one for you, Bob.
Who's that?
Shane Beamer.
Interesting. When I asked I thought Brent Venables.
Why Brent?
I don't know. Like I don't think he's that good of a coach to where somebody necessarily should hire. I mean, I think he's a good coach, but I don't think it's a sexy hire. It's not a hire that moves a needle. But I could see somebody hiring Brent Venables. But then the question is,
why would he leave Oklahoma? Yeah, why
is an increase over Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Because the only job I think about is like, I mean, what if we haven't talked about one thing, and I'm going to let you go in a minute.
I know what you're going to say. I know. I'm 99% sure what you're going to say.
What?
Nick Saban retires at the end of the year.
No.
Oh, dang it.
Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL.
Oh, yes. No, I agree. No, I think he does. He does.
So then you got Michigan open, which is another podcast altogether, because I think Michigan is bigger than Oklahoma. No, Sherrod. I don't think so.
I'll bet for some reason I think they will go. They'll because they think what Michigan has normally done. And throughout history they went with Lloyd Carr. They went with Moeller, Gary Moeller. They always were on staff.
Now they're different now.
I
don't disagree with Carr. It was Rodriguez and it was Holt.
Yeah, Rodriguez.
Hoke was a Michigan guy, though.
Yeah, Hoke was a Michigan guy. So the
Sure.
only person that was out there was Rodriguez.
Times are different. Is all I'm saying. I mean, if I'd have to really examine the Michigan
Did
coaching tree.
did Ohio State, which is one of the best jobs in America, did they stay in the tree?
Yeah,
Alan?
they did.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. Was Fickle an Ohio State guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was an Ohio State legend.
Urban Meyer's not, though.
Urban
Right?
Meyer was a coach.
He
He was a coach.
I thought Urban
At
Meyer
Ohio
was.
State. He was a
I
grad
thought Urban
coach.
Meyer was an Ohio guy, but not an Ohio State.
He played.
guy.
No, he coached in Ohio State.
No, he was a coach at Ohio State.
He played for
Back in,
Cincinnati too, but
Well, we don't live in the days of Gary Muller, John Cooper, and Lloyd Carr anymore. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying the guy's a pretty good coach. Look how he's done with Michigan when Harbaugh's been out. I mean, they went to Penn State. He's on the staff. He's
James Franklin. He's going to leave too.
He's highly respected. If Michigan stayed with Sherrod Moore, I would not be shocked.
I don't think you're totally wrong on that one, but like that's a Michigan. That would be like the safest of the safe hires, in my opinion.
Who they
that's
go
not
get?
Mike Leach died, and you bring in the defensive coordinator to coach.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You've got time on this one.
But how about if Nick Saban leaves Alabama?
Man, you could have Alabama and Michigan open.
I mean, Dabo, I think, would go to Alabama.
I think Dabo would be more likely to go to A&M.
You know, he played for Alabama.
I know. I think Dabo would be more likely to go to. I think A&M will pay more than Bama will.
I don't know. Your alma mater.
Everybody expects you to do it.
Now Dan Lanning might go to Alabama.
He's going to be at Texas A&M, so he can't do that.
He's not going to A&M. He
what
might
about
go
Sark?
Sark at Alabama.
You know, and let me say one more thing. Kirk Ferentz, I have already proclaimed him gone from Iowa.
I know. We have fired or had so many coaches. So so is Lincoln Riley gone?
Is Mike McCarthy gone from the Cowboys?
So
that's Lincoln Riley's next job.
Okay, so I think Harbaugh is gone. So when you said Michigan, I do think. I mean, look what's happened with him this year. But is Lincoln Riley gone? Look at what's happening at USC.
I think Lincoln Riley's next job is an NFL job, though. So I can't say that until I see what's open on the NFL.
So raise your hand if you think Lincoln Riley's gone after this year. Okay, raise your two. Okay, raise your hand if you think Jim Harbaugh's gone.
Raise your hand if you think Dan Lanning is gone.
He's not gone. Okay. Raise your hand. You're retarded. Is that good? So we both think Lincoln's gone. So you don't think Harbaugh's gone, Alan, right?
Last year, he tried to get. He had how many interviews for the NFL? 4 or 5, and didn't get one coaching job. Just because he's getting in trouble now, and with how everyone's doing, they're trying to do the Michigan against the world, how Ohio State's been doing that the whole time. I doubt he's going to leave.
I think this is different. I think this is different because Harbaugh coached. If Harbaugh hadn't coached at the Raiders, I'd probably agree with you all.
How about the Chargers?
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't he go to a team with one of the better quarterbacks than?
It's not why wouldn't he go. It's why wouldn't they want him?
Yeah, why would they?
Mark Davis is a big middle finger to the NFL anyway. He's just like his dad, to where he doesn't give a crap. I don't think San Diego subscribes to that same theory because I think Jim Harbaugh might get some punishment. It's not going to be Dan Lanning.
Dan Lanning.
It wouldn't be Urban Meyer. I don't think Urban Meyer gets another shot at the NFL. I think that.
I don't either. I don't either. Lincoln Riley to Los Angeles Chargers or LA Rams. Let's say McVay's gonna retire because I kind of wonder if he does. Do you think
I've heard Lincoln Riley's got this one dream.
Cowboys. I have, but why would they fire McCarthy if he makes the playoffs again?
Because it's Jerry Jones.
True.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that's true.
And I don't think McVay retires as much as McVay kind of quote unquote recharges and steps away for
Yeah,
a few
that's
years,
what I mean.
goes to
Yeah,
TV.
yeah. Of course, he's not retiring for all
No.
time. It's
going to be a
he's what,
Sean
my age?
Payton deal.
Yeah, he's my age. I don't even know if he's my age.
No, he's younger than you, I think.
Yeah, so he's of course he's gonna. But I think he would. He seems. I've heard from a few people that they say that they're wondering if he steps away for a couple of years.
He's a workaholic, from what I hear too.
So Riley, but that would be perfect. He lives in LA. He actually runs a similar offensive system. How perfect would for him to just come right in and coach the Rams?
I think he'd go to the Chargers first.
He'd be smart because Justin Herbert is the balla.
I don't think the Rams do a good job.
Yeah, Stafford's old, but after they draft Bo Nix, they'll be better.
Hey, Tyler, I got one for you.
Long rebuild.
I don't think that he would go, but Matt Entz.
Who?
Matt Entz. Do you know who that is?
No.
Is that your barber?
No, that's somebody else. He's actually the head coach of a little-known school called North Dakota State.
Oh, yeah, never heard of them. Oh, he's the one that took over for Kleiman.
Correct.
How
Sounds
about
perfect for Ohio State.
Hold on? How about Kleiman?
I doubt he's going to leave Kansas State.
But why wouldn't he? What if Texas A&M offered Kleiman? The guy's a heck of a coach. Won national titles at North Dakota State. He led Kansas State to a Big 12 title. That's a pretty good. Or Michigan. Let's say they don't go with Moore. Why wouldn't they go with a guy that had been that successful? That's a pretty good hire.
Or Missouri.
I could see him going. I could see him going to Boise State.
I
could see him going to
Kleiman
Boise
or
State.
Entz?
Kleiman.
Why would he go from a Power 5 school to a non-Power 5?
He wanted to go back up. Idaho.
I got something for that one. You're going to a lower rung Power 5 where you're probably never going to crack the New Year's Six to a group of 5 to where you can beat King and you've always got a shot to get into a New Year's Six?
No, I disagree with that logic because
I disagree with your disagreement.
Because whoever wins the Big 12 makes the playoff every single year. And why couldn't Kansas State, and especially the new Big 12, they won the Big 12 last year. Why wouldn't they be able to win the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma when they have already won it with Texas and Oklahoma? They would have made the playoff last year.
Understand? I think you can win the Mountain West every year at Boise State. Kansas State, you might miss a year or two.
But who says that you're going to make it? Remember, it's the highest rated group of 5. You're having to deal with the American, which is the best Power 5, which is the best group of 5 conference. Mountain West is.
Who's in the American right now?
Tulane, SMU. Well, SMU is leaving, but
okay,
still.
So Boise State's just got a schedule a little bit better than Tulane. You win one big game, Tulane doesn't. Boom.
I don't think Kleiman would go there. Yeah, I think Kleiman.
I'm just giving you the reason why Boise State's a better job than a lower rung P5.
Kleiman will go to the SEC and Big Ten. He would go. He might go to. You know what? He might go to Michigan State. It's a Big Ten job. He'll get paid more.
Who's going to Penn State?
Where's Franklin going? They're not going to fire him,
dude. You can't fire Franklin. I agree.
Yeah.
Name me the big game James Franklin has won at Penn State.
He's never won one. I agree with you. He's not.
But
he literally can't win a big game. I agree.
One last question for both of you guys. If James Franklin all of a sudden pulled the Lincoln Riley and said, I'm going to XYZ school, where do you go at Penn State? Because I think the next coach at Penn State has got to be somebody that can beat Michigan or Ohio State, which you don't have right now.
If Lincoln Riley goes to the NFL, James Franklin could be hired by USC. And I think USC would hire him.
But who goes to Penn State then is what I'm saying.
Matt Rule. He would have if Nebraska hadn't hired him. I'd probably say Chris Kleiman.
I think Penn
What's
State's
with all this Chris Kleiman?
I think Penn State's got that A&M mantra in them just without the money. because I think they're going to try to go name.
Okay, Dan Lanning, whatever.
I didn't say Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning's going to be at A&M. He can't just pop all these places. And see, I'm not big on Kalen DeBoer.
Sark. I could see Sark coming there.
Why aren't you big on Kalen DeBoer? Where he's won it everywhere he's gone.
Geographically, I'm not big on him like going to an East. Go ahead, you can lower your glasses. I don't care.
Now USC opens up.
What?
USC opens up.
Is Washington a better school than USC right now for football?
No, I would still say USC is better than Washington. Oregon is the top dog, to be objective about it, but USC is a close second. What you said?
All right. Well,
Are you? Allen's wanted to get off for like literally an hour
because we all have to go to work and like
when I was like, no, I did look at the thing. Alan's like, I'm done with this podcast, but then he had to last an hour.
My dinner is going to turn into breakfast here in a moment.
no, see, the thing is, Tyler, I appreciate when you come on, even though at times I may not always agree with your views, but that's okay. That and your snark usually is pretty entertaining, so that was why I always try to get a good kick out of it. Although I just looked at the time and it's 12:05 in the morning when about 10:30 to about 11 o'clock, I heard Tyler say, "I'm tired. I need to go to
I gotta
bed."
go.
So I mean, I'm just watching and getting a kick out of this. That's
See,
all.
here's the thing, Alan. If you get him going on coaching moves, it's like that 10 shots of coffee for Joe Barry. It just re-energizes him to where
how many
he's going to be hanging off a bridge in Lynchburg.
No, but what was so interesting, how many coaches did we fire or have them leave?
I didn't fire anybody. I just put Dan Lanning at A&M. That's all I did.
You had James Franklin leaving, you had Jim Harbaugh, you have Don.
I didn't fire anyone.
But
I just have people leaving.
You have them leaving.
No.
You didn't listen. I said
Bob,
fire and leaving.
Altogether, I'd say we said at least 25 coaches transitioning jobs.
Well, how many schools are in Division I? About 108. There's going to be like 104 new coaches next year.
Mac Brown leaves North Carolina.
It's going to happen sooner than later, I would think. But see, I don't think North Carolina is a destination job for anybody.
They can get a good coach though.
Get Doran. DJ Durkin.
Well, no.
Who's the guy at Maryland now? It used to be DJ Durkin.
Mike Loxley is now. Mike Loxley is there now.
Why wouldn't they go get Phil Longo, who is their offensive coordinator, who's now at Wisconsin?
Wisconsin's not working out too well.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to go even more daring, you could even try and say get Danny Rocco from VMI.
Where's Paul Christ?
Analyst.
Like a TV analyst or like analyzing somebody's film?
Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kidding. I do got to go to bed. I love you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins this week. Can Alan come back?
I'm gonna talk trash about
what happens.
Unfortunately, you're not going to make much of a comeback, Bob, because you just picked all the same teams as me for the most part.
I didn't pick. We've got at least 3 differences.
Okay, so you might be
Maybe
able to pick
4.
up 1 point.
So I cut the margin to 2.
Like literally, Allen, I think, was like half the picks, if not more. So he's either going to be 6 points closer, or 3 or 4, or
Allen's a smart man.
He's gonna be hanging out with Santiago and Neverland.
Wow.
That is okay. There are worse places to be.
Good night, Tyler.
All right, see you later, guys.
All right, well, Tyler, thank you for coming on. Take it easy, sir.
Peace.
Can I make fun of him now that he's gone?
I'm not gone yet.
Oh, turn that thing off.
All right, Tyler.
Oh, Alan, what fun we have.
Oh man.
We didn't even get to talk about college volleyball. You know what? You know what Tyler's going to have next week? It's going to be like when I break a pair of reading glasses and you just have like the glasses on but no lens. That's going to be Tyler. He's going to be like looking through them like all snarky with us. I still want
I mean,
to
it
talk about that in
just
trivia. It's going to happen.
yeah, it's gonna happen, sir. But I mean, just it's always entertaining when he comes on. Sometimes more entertaining than usual. But you know what? That's okay.
That's what we're here for, right?
That that's
Every
why we
time I
alternate at
broadcast a
times
game,
too.
I always say we're here to educate, inform, and entertain. It's like Sesame Street. This is Sesame Street for adults after hours.
Very, very nice. Although, let's see if we can check volleyball real quick, sir. So, because I believe it's you got that going on, and you have the I believe field hockey is going on as well right now.
Well, I think you're into volleyball conference tournaments because the Conference USA tournament is actually in Lynchburg.
Oh, okay.
So they've just come out, I think, with like the top 25 as you head into the conference tournaments. For the high school leagues, the state tournaments are this week. Normally, the way that works is when you have a state finals in high school, that's like when the conference tournaments hit for regular sports. I mean, field hockey, I don't know. Didn't field hockey, aren't they already in the NCAA tournament?
They are.
Because I believe
They are
Liberty
indeed.
lost to, want to say Syracuse, but I don't think that's right.
Let's see.
I do encourage people, though, if you have a conference tournament near you, especially for a what I would call Olympic sport, you know, they're not going to charge you an arm and a leg. So get out there and try to watch because those that's where you kind of get to see. That's like the buffet of
Yeah.
that sport. So definitely get out there and you know, try to catch a few games. I mean, with all honesty, I don't mean this to be a jerk. It's not probably not going to be like hanging from the rafters. So you should be able to
No.
get in and be okay.
So yeah, Liberty did lose to Syracuse 2-1.
Look at
Syracuse
me.
then lost to Duke 2-1, and so now we have North Carolina, Virginia, Northwestern, and Duke in the Final Four. Semifinals are Friday, and the championship is Sunday, 19. Actually, yeah, since we've already
So
crossed in,
who's
so
the
yeah.
Final Four?
Final Four is North Carolina #1, Virginia, Northwestern a 2 seed, Duke a 3 seed.
Give me UVA and Duke in the finals.
I'm gonna pick North. I'm gonna go with North Carolina, Northwestern.
You got to be opposite, don't you? Got to
Of
be opposite.
course. After going through what I just went through, you think I'm gonna try and go the same with you guys? Come on, man.
I would think you would at
You
least
know
agree
better
with
than
me.
that.
For heaven's sakes. I mean, we're both
After
bald.
the
We
fun of
both have daughters. We both wear glasses, except mine are just over there right now. You're wearing a
see,
red shirt. I'm wearing an orange shirt. They're basically neighbors. I mean, you know.
let's see. And you have women's soccer. We're in the second round for it right now, so
Oh,
let's see how we're doing
got a ways to
for
go on that.
that. Yeah. Because yeah, Liberty got knocked out in the first round. They lost to Georgia 2-1. So I can't really say I'm surprised about that, honestly.
I think women's soccer is a harder sport to crack the upper echelon, unfortunately, than you can.
Yeah,
I think in field hockey, you can get people. Maybe you can even become the
true.
upper echelon, but soccer, it's a little bit tougher, I think.
So right now we have you're into the round of 32
Okay.
for soccer. You got Florida State against Texas A&M, Wisconsin against Texas, Notre Dame against Memphis, Arkansas against Pitt in the top left. In the bottom left, you have Penn State and Santa Clara, Georgetown against St. Louis, Georgia against Iowa, Clemson against Columbia. In the top right, you have BYU against Southern California, Harvard against Michigan State, North Carolina against Alabama, Texas Tech against Princeton. In the bottom right, you have Stanford against South Carolina, Brown against Mississippi State, Nebraska against Tennessee, and Gonzaga against UC Irvine.
What sport do you think you would be least good at? Field hockey or soccer?
Field hockey.
Way too much running in soccer. And I couldn't be in goal because then the other team would score like 25.
Many moons ago, I played soccer, but that's besides the point.
I bought a little croquet game once and never really used it, so I don't know that I could play croquet or soccer. Because I had soccer, I think most kids play soccer at a rec league and then they stop. But, soccer is a sport to where I don't think you can just go play pickup. It's a lot of skill involved. Field hockey, I mean, you're dealing with coordination of hitting a ball with a stick at the same time. I mean, good gosh. You're looking at the death of doom of most people right there.
Yeah. That is true indeed, sir. So we'll definitely see about volleyball when it comes up next time. But let's see, we got the men's soccer first round. Probably should say something about that since we're here for that. It looks like it's starting this week. And there we go. Good to see my computer works. So for looks like you got the first round on today and the second round's on Saturday. So the first round you got Green Bay, Western Michigan, LIU against Denver, Yale at Bryant, Lipscomb at Indiana, sorry. Boston U at Syracuse, Rider at Vermont, High Point at Charlotte, Mercer at Florida International, Dayton at Louisville, James Madison at Pittsburgh, Kentucky at Xavier, Omaha at Missouri State, SIUE at Memphis, Seattle U at Oregon State, UC Irvine at Loyola Marymount, Cal Baptist at San Diego. And then you have the winners of those games playing against Pitt James Madison goes against Georgetown, San Diego Cal Baptist goes against Marshall, FIU Mercer goes against Virginia, Western Michigan Green Bay goes against Duke, Louisville Dayton goes against West Virginia, Syracuse Boston U goes against New Hampshire, Xavier Kentucky goes against Notre Dame, Memphis SIUE goes against North Carolina, Indiana Lipscomb goes against Wake Forest, Vermont Rider goes against UCF, Bryant U goes against Hofstra, Charlotte and High Point goes against Clemson, Denver LIU goes against SMU, Oregon State CLU goes against Portland, Loyola Marymount UC Irvine goes against UCLA, and Missouri State and Omaha winner goes against Stanford. So just a few games there, sir.
Yeah, a lot of sports left to be played, and I think what everybody needs to realize is it's a marathon, not a sprint in these tournaments. But you also got to be lucky too.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you. I don't think you mentioned it. It's back to football real quick, and I promise I'm not going to keep us here. But where do you have Shane Beamer going? Or if you don't know, that's fine. I was just curious because you said Shane Beamer.
I'd wonder about either Texas A&M or Mississippi State.
Okay. South Carolina to Mississippi State is an upgrade in your eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I don't
Well, I
think he
mean,
goes. I don't think he goes to A&M.
I doubt he would go to A&M, but I'd be curious to see just because, I mean, South Carolina's been his first real head coaching job, and just seeing how he's had up and down years, but you can tell that he's been trying to make strides. I mean, here's another job I would think about that I don't know if it's heading on the hot seat yet or not. What about Sam Pittman in Arkansas? Because they've had a really rough year this year.
Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks that for Beamer, an upgrade would be like if he was going to a school in the Big 12 area, or if he was able to get back in the ACC. But I think South Carolina to Virginia Tech is an upgrade in terms of name only. I don't think it's an upgrade in terms of prestige or anything like that. But I don't think Virginia Tech is going to get rid of Brent Pry.
No.
So I don't know that I see Beamer being able to do the Lincoln Riley upgrade thing yet. But I think if he keeps it up at South Carolina, I could see it happening in a few years.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, that because like I don't think there's enough buzz yet about Beamer other than he's Frank's son. I think if Shane Beamer can notch a big win at South Carolina, then maybe he's got the genius juice on him. I still think he could get a big job, but I just wonder if he got a job from South Carolina to somewhere else, is it too big? You know what I'm saying? Too big, too early.
Yeah, understand.
But
I
we'll
see what
see.
you're saying for that. Real quick, let's for the top 10 for the college football playoff, the rankings has Georgia at 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, Missouri 9, Louisville 10, Oregon State 11, Penn State 12, Ole Miss 13, Oklahoma 14, LSU 15, Iowa 16, Arizona 17, Tennessee 18, Notre Dame 19, North Carolina 20, Kansas State number 21, Utah 22, Oklahoma State number 23, Tulane number 24, Kansas number 25. Real quick, since we got basketball season going, I'm
I
gonna
knew
run
you were
through
going to
the
bring
top.
this up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to make. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna say yes. There was a game that happened last week where your school did lose. That was all I'm gonna say about that. Caleb Love
Yeah.
at two different schools has won twice against them. That's all I'm gonna say.
I thought you were going to bring up like Iowa, where uh, oh gosh, I blanked her name.
Caitlin Clark scored
Yeah,
44 points against Virginia Tech last
an
week. Yeah, I
absolute
watched that game.
stud performance, and UConn goes down,
Yep,
which
yep,
Gino
they
didn't seem
did.
surprised about at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. He's got Paige Beckers coming back, and they got to get used to her being back in the lineup because it's been almost 2 years since she's been in the lineup. So, real quick, we'll do the men's AP top 25. We got Kansas 1, Purdue 2, Arizona 3, Marquette 4, UConn 5, Houston 6, Tennessee 7, Creighton 8, Duke 9, Florida Atlantic 10, Gonzaga 11, Miami 12, Texas A&M 13, Arkansas 14, Baylor 15, USC 16, Kentucky 17, Michigan State 18, Texas 19, North Carolina 20, Villanova 21, Alabama 22, Illinois 23, James Madison 24, Colorado 25. For the women, we have South Carolina 1, Iowa 2, UCLA 3, Utah 4, Colorado 5, Stanford 6, LSU 7, UConn 8, Virginia Tech 9, USC 10, Texas 11, Florida State 12, Ohio State 13, NC State 14, Tennessee 15, Notre Dame 16, North Carolina 17, Indiana 18, Louisville 19, Maryland 20, Baylor 21, Creighton 22, Ole Miss 23, Washington State number 24, and Oklahoma rounds up the top 25. So this way we have hit the three main sports that are happening right now while still going through the two different tourneys that are happening, and we'll be able to give more updates next week and see who is better with their guesses on the picks for the champion for next week. So we will see about that for field hockey. Once again, you said Duke and North Carolina.
No, I said
No, you
Duke and
said Duke and Virginia.
I said Duke and Virginia. You said Carolina and Northwestern.
Correct. We will see how that goes for next week. So,
By the way, if you want to watch some of these conference tournaments or NCAA tournaments, I recommend you go online or maybe even try out an ESPN Plus for some things, because you can oftentimes stream these things to where you're not just going with, like, what a lot of people used to do, where they just go for live stats and refresh every 2 minutes. So I'm trying to help out the world.
no, we appreciate that. And well, Bob, we've almost made it to 12:30, which means that, well, we're both gonna have fun in a few hours, getting up and getting ready for work. Then I know you got your morning drive, so
Yep.
we'll see about that. But we were gonna try to find you outside of here. How to do so, sir?
The Sports Buffet on Twitter. I'm starting to do some more interviews now with basketball, starting up in the high school and Division III ranks, where I do a lot of my public address announcing. So I'll actually have a little bit more stuff, but I need to get busy like you do, because I need to hit the Twitter, or not the Twitter, by the way, X. But I need to hit the Instagram and the YouTube a lot harder than I do. So.
For me, I gotta try to make sure I do something like that at some point too. My X account handle is Alan F West. If you've had time to post on there again, Facebook and Instagram, I'm at Alan.West.46. This has been the top 25 rundown. Bob, thank you as always for the time.
Always
Tara,
fun.
we had on too. That was entertaining, and as long as everything works out, we'll see you next week. This has been the Sportscast Top 25